What is up, everybody? We are on day 145 of our Bible in a Year series. We are continuing on in Job. We are in Job 4 through 7 is what we're going to hit today. And this is where I think you kind of start to see things that suggest what I mentioned yesterday as far as what my view is, like the big takeaway from Job is that no one is truly good except for God. All humans are going to fail or falter at some point and at some level. The only true good is God. Period. End of story. And this is today we kind of start seeing this with Job a little bit, and I'll point that out when we get there. But we'll jump straight into it because we got 4 chapters to read today. Chapter 4. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied, and now remember, Job's 3 friends have come. They've sat with him for 7 days, I believe it was, and just sat there quietly. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied, "Should anyone try to speak with you when you are exhausted? Yet who can keep from speaking? Indeed, you have instructed many and have strengthened weak hands. Your words have steadied the one who was stumbling and braced the knees that were buckling. But now this has happened to you. You have become exhausted. It strikes you and you are dismayed. Isn't your piety, your confidence, and your integrity your life, your hope? Integrity of life, your hope? Consider who has perished when he was innocent. Where have the honest been destroyed? In my experience, those who plow injustice and those who sow trouble reap the same. They perish at a single blast from God, and come to an end by the breath of his nostrils. The lion may roar and the fierce lion growl, but the teeth of young lions are broken. The strong lion dies if it catches no prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. A word was brought to me in secret. My ears caught a whisper of it. Among unsettling thoughts, from visions in the night, when deep sleep comes over men, fear and trembling came over me and made all my bones shake. I felt a draft on my face and the hair on my body stood up. A figure stood there, but I could not recognize its appearance. A form loomed before my eyes. I heard a whispering voice. Can a mortal be righteous before God? Can a man be more pure than his Maker? If God puts no trust in his servants and he charges his angels with foolishness, how much more those who dwell in clay houses, whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed like a moth, they are smashed to pieces from dawn to dusk, they perish forever while no one notices. Are their tent cords not pulled up? They die without wisdom. Chapter 5. Call out, will anyone answer you? Which of the holy ones will you turn to? For anger kills a fool, and jealousy slays the gullible. I have seen a fool taking root, but I immediately pronounce the curse on his home. His children are far from safety. They are crushed at the city gate, with no one to rescue them. The hungry consume his harvest, even taking it out of thorns. The thirsty pant for his children's wealth, for distress does not grow out of the soil, and trouble does not sprout from the ground, but humans are born for trouble, as surely as sparks fly upward. However, if I were you, I would appeal to God and would present my case to him. He does great and unsearchable things, wonders without number. He gives rain to the earth and sends water to the fields. He sets the lowly on high, and mourners are lifted to safety. He frustrates the schemes of the crafty so that they achieve no success. He traps the wise in their craftiness so that the plans of the deceptive are quickly brought to an end. Now, this right here, this verse 13, interesting little tidbit. This is actually quoted by Paul in 1 Corinthians 3, verse 19. Now, the significance of it is this statement that he's making is true. Now, that does not mean everything that he is saying is true, because we also see in, was it Titus? Got it on my notes. Yeah, Titus 1:12. Paul quotes a Cretan prophet, however you say that. I think it's Cretan, but he quotes a Cretan prophet. Now, obviously, not everything that he says is going to be true, and Paul's not even going to agree with everything that he says. But at least this point that he's saying here is true. So there's some truth in what he's speaking to Job here. Verse 14. They encounter darkness by day, and they grope at noon as if it were night. He saves the needy from their sharp wounds and from the clutches of the powerful, so the poor have hope and injustice shuts its mouth. See how happy is the person whom God corrects, so do not reject the discipline of the Almighty, for he wounds, but he also bandages. He strikes, but his hands also heal. He will rescue you from 16 calamities, no harm, or from 6 calamities, I don't know where I got 16. No harm will touch you in 7. In famine, he will redeem you from death, and in battle from the power of the sword. You will be safer from slander and not fear destruction when it comes. You will laugh at destruction and hunger and not fear the land's wild creatures. For you will have a covenant with the stones of the fields, and the wild animals will be at peace with you. You will know that your tent is secure and nothing will be missing when you inspect your home. You will also know that your offspring will be many and your descendants like the grass of the earth. You will approach the grave in full vigor as a stack of sheaves is gathered in its season. We have investigated this, and it is true. Hear it and understand it for yourself. Okay, Job's going to reply. Chapter 6. Then Job answered, if only my grief could be weighed and my devastation placed with it on the scales, for then it would outweigh the sand of the seas. This is why my words are rash. Surely the arrows of the Almighty have pierced me. My spirit drinks their poison. God's terrors are arranged against me. This is where we start to see, I think, Job's perspective is way off. He has started talking about God as his enemy. His statements are no longer objective or accurate. God is not mean-spirited or arbitrary with people. So this is where I think we kind of see, at least somewhat, where Job's standing was rooted in what he had, or what he had access to. People texted me. Okay, verse 4. Right? No, I read verse 4. Verse 5. Does a wild donkey bray over fresh grass, or an ox low over its fodder? Is bland food eaten without salt? Is there flavor in an egg white? I refuse to touch them. They are like contaminated food. If only my request would be granted and God would provide what I hope for, that he would decide to crush me, to unleash his power and cut me off. It would still bring me comfort, and I would leap for joy in unrelenting pain that I have not denied the words of the Holy One. So, I know a lot of people that read through this and they're almost reading it in a way that's like, they see what's being said as a good thing, and I don't. I mean, honest, I don't know how you can, like, this is very much a, oh, woe is me, the focus is on me, it's all me. Yeah. Okay. Verse 11. What strength do I have that I should continue to hope? What is my future that I should be patient? Is my strength that of stone, or my flesh made of bronze, since I cannot help myself? The hope for success has been banished from me. A despairing man should receive loyalty from his friends, even if he abandons the fear of the Almighty. My brothers are as treacherous as wadi, as seasonal streams that overflow and become darkened because of ice, and the snow melts into them. The wadis evaporate in warm weather, they disappear from their channels. In hot weather, caravans turn away from their routes, go up into the desert, and perish. The caravans of Tema look for these streams. The traveling merchants of Sheba hope for them. They are ashamed because they had been confident of finding water. When they arrive there, they are disappointed. So this is what you have now become to me. When you see something dreadful, you are afraid. Have I ever said, give me something, or pay a bribe for me from your wealth, or deliver me from the enemy's hand, or redeem me from the hand of the ruthless? Teach me, and I will be silent. Help me understand what I did wrong, how painful honest words can be. But what does your rebuke prove? Do you think that you can disprove my words, or that a despairing man's words are mere wind? Sorry, I'm trying to edit my camera a little bit because it looks off. Okay. Verse 27. No doubt you would cast lots for your fatherless child and negotiate a price to sell your friend. But now, please look at me. I will not lie to your face. Reconsider. Don't be unjust. Reconsider my righteousness is still the issue. Is there injustice on my tongue, or can my palate not taste disaster? Chapter 7. Isn't each person consigned to forced labor on earth? Are not his days like those of a hired worker? Like a slave, he longs for shade. Like a hired worker, he waits for his pay. So I have been made to inherit months of futility, and troubled nights have been assigned to me. When I lie down, I think, when will I get up? But the evenings drags on endlessly, and I toss and turn until dawn. My flesh is clothed with maggots and encrusted with dirt. My skin forms scabs and then oozes. My days pass more swiftly than a weaver's shuttle. They come to an end without hope. Remember that my life is but a breath. My eye will never again see anything good. The eye of anyone who looks on me will no longer see me. Your eyes will look for me, but I will be gone. As a cloud fades away and vanishes, so the one who goes down to Sheol will never rise again. He will never return to his house. His hometown will no longer remember him. Therefore I will not restrain my mouth. I will speak in anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Am I the sea or the sea monster, that you keep me under guard? When I say, my bed will comfort me, and my couch will ease my complaint, then you frighten me with dreams and terrify me with visions, so that I prefer strangling death rather than life in this body. I give up. I will not live forever. Leave me alone, for my days are a breath. What is a mere human that you think so highly of him and pay so much attention to him? You inspect him every morning and put him to the test every moment. Will you ever look away from me, or leave me alone long enough to swallow? If I have sinned, what have I done to you, watcher of humanity? Why have you made me your target, so that I have become a burden to you? See, he's focusing on him and what he's done, almost making an argument that he's not done anything wrong. Verse 21. Oops. Why not forgive my sin and pardon my iniquity? For soon I will lie down in the grave. You will eagerly seek me, but I will be gone. Again, we can see here, especially this last verse in 21, Job's focus is completely off. Like, completely off. He is, his focus is on his troubles and what's going on and the negative and me. And because of that, he is limiting what God can do, saying that, he's going to die and God's going to be looking for him, and it'll all be for nothing because he'll be dead and it'll be too late. Like, God can't raise you from the grave again. I guess would be correct grammar. Um, so I think those verses or those chapters are a little more revealing of where Job was actually at. And we'll get in some questions for today. Question 1. Eliphaz's claim in chapters 4 and 5 that suffering always follows sin oversimplifies Job's plight. How does this perspective challenge us to consider the complexity of pain and the danger of judging others' struggles? I this is a very very bad idea to get in your head that difficulties and like physical ailment, things like this, is always the result of sin. Not only is it not true, it's harmful, it's damaging to people, it literally does no good, it is terrible, and if you have leadership like this in a church, that you need to confront it and leave if they won't change. Um, it's bad. I have seen instances where people have heard a story, anyways, of someone who, I believe they were in a wheelchair, or they needed a walker or something like that, and they fell, and the pastor would not help them because the reason they were in that condition was because of their sin, according to this pastor. Now, I know that's an extreme, and not everyone's like that, but there are people that believe like that. That is not the case. That is not how this works. There are times that we deal with things because we live in a fallen world, and it is no fault of our own. There are some things that can be our fault, but not everything that happens to us is because of our fault or our decisions or our sins. So I think we need to have grace with people. We need to be showing Christ through our actions, love and kindness to people, help people, be good to people. Okay. Question 2. Job's lament in chapter 6 expresses both despair and a longing for God's presence. How might his raw honesty prompt us to reflect on the role of lament in maintaining faith and unanswered questions? So I do think that there is an element of that there. Like I said, though, I think that we also see a good bit of Job here kind of focusing on himself, what he's... It's not bad to vocalize things that you're going through, or thinking, or whatever, issues that you're having. But I think this is kind of getting to the point where it's his focus, and we even see it at the end. He's saying, God, if you don't come help me, I'm going to die, and it's going to be too late. It's not too late. Like that's limiting God's ability, but it's also limiting God's knowledge. It's limiting God in so many ways. And I believe wholeheartedly it's because Job is focused on what he's going through, his situation, and not actually focusing on God. Question 3. In chapter 7, Job questions the purpose of his suffering and God's attention. How does the struggle invite us to wrestle with the tension between humanity and the hope of divine purpose in our trials? I think so. We can see in the New Testament. I mentioned that Paul actually references Eliphaz's speech, or statement, I guess you could say, not speech. But we see that Paul references that. Paul also there's several points that Paul talks about trials and things that he goes through, saying that he doesn't consider his present trials even worthy of being compared to the grace that's going to come. He talks about how he can endure all things because Christ gives him the strength to endure all things. He talks about how he talks about peace and enduring and all this. He's not even saying it from a place that is in a good situation. A lot of this he's writing from prison. Like, he's writing while he's in the midst of this stuff. And I'm sure Paul had bad days, but in the midst of the trouble, he is still able to focus enough on on God, on Christ, to encourage other people to keep their focus on Christ. It's encouraging. It's powerful. It's we actually just went through Colossians and Philemon, however you say it, in my church, and reading those, it's encouragement, encouraging people in the right direction to do the right thing, and just encouraging them in their walk. It's good stuff, and especially thinking that Paul wrote a lot of these from prison. So that is it for today. Appreciate everyone watching and listening up to this point. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I enjoy interacting with people as much as I can, so you may see me jumping into the comments as well. Don't forget, if this has been a blessing to you, then share it with somebody else. Word of mouth is the best way that podcasts spread, so you can share it with somebody else and it can be a blessing to them and help them stick with a daily Bible reading plan, because we're doing this all year long, and then next year we're going to start a new one. So we will continue it then. They can jump in where we're at. They can jump in on day one and work through whatever they like to do. It's not tied to certain days or anything like that, so they can jump in wherever. Tomorrow we'll be back in Job. We are going to another of Job's friends and see what he has to say regarding the situation and everything that's going on. So it'll be good. You don't want to miss it. So come back. Thanks. God bless.